I'm sick and tired of those smartphone zombies. It's an epidemic. They're like that all day, every day. That they can't not spend like 5 minutes without being fed by that. Like really, like bzzz. I don't know what's going on. They just walk like zombies, really. And why am I so annoyed? Well, I just came back from Starbucks. Went there, was reading a book, get my coffee, and then I move and try to go back home. And then I see those zombies. I have to avoid them. It's like a video game. So basically, I see them walking, and I have to move. So I see this zombie, and I tried to avoid that zombie. But what I didn't see, there was another zombie behind him. And that zombie made a sidestep also while still looking at his phone. So he bumped into me and spilled all of my coffee. Yeah, thank you. And then he looked at me like, "Arr!" Like he was trying to, he was like waking up basically from the dream he was in, or I don't know what he was doing, just staring at his phone. And he's like, sorry, sir. And I was annoyed. This is one time too much. Like, I know it's no big deal. Taken individually, it's no big deal for real. But I've seen that so many times. I have to avoid them. And sometimes it's funny, but today it was not funny. I wanted to enjoy my coffee when I went back home, and now I couldn't because of that zombie. Now, this is just a symptom, and I'm going to explain why. But I'm really tired of those zombies. So, just to give you an example, the other day I saw a baby. The baby had like a tablet and then a phone, and the baby was trying to manage both devices. And bear in mind that baby can't probably even walk. I don't know if that baby can talk, but I'm pretty sure that baby can't walk. But the baby is already managing two devices, which is super bad for the brain. Don't trust me, go and see the studies. It's super bad. Now you might think, yeah, you're just an old guy, you don't understand technology. Who are you talking to? I'm a geek. I love tech. I love technology. I love my phone like everyone else. But I've realized some time ago, but even more lately, that this is bad. Another example, the other day I'm in a restaurant somewhere in Southeast Asia. I'm not going to mention the country because a country is pretty sensitive when you criticize anything about them. But basically, I was there with my date and we're eating. And I'm not lying, everyone else in that restaurant is on their phone. Like full families, like from the grandma to the baby, they're all, staring at their phone, playing games, and also with the volume as loud as possible. Like, never mind earbuds and stuff. Actually, why do I still have my earbuds in my ear? Let me remove that. But yeah, basically, they just make noise and they don't care. They're eating like looking at the screen. Now, is that my problem? No, but I think it's sad, I think it's sad. And that comes from someone who loves technology. And I've known that for a while, but I've realized it even more lately. I'm going to explain why. But the sad thing is, it's not just with strangers. So not too long ago, I was on holidays, and at one point I was with a couple of friends, and they were both on their phone. Not right away, like the first 30 minutes we were talking, but after like 30 minutes, bear in mind, we're in a very nice place with a pool. It's like a bar. I mean, it's so, so nice. And then both of them were like on their phones. And, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to ruin the mood. I thought, let them be on their phone for a few minutes. I thought maybe 15 minutes. We all have the right to, send messages, enjoy, our me time a little bit. But I was like, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while, especially with one of the friends. And I was like, huh. But the 15 minutes turned into 1 hour. And after 1 hour, I really got pissed off, but I was trying not to show it. So I told them, hey, let's go to another place, because I thought at least when they walk, they can't really zombie doom scroll. I mean, they could do it, but I thought that's going to break the pattern. So we did that, and it actually worked while we were walking. But then we get to the second place, which was actually a club, because I thought in a club, you're not going to use your phone, right? Wrong. So they're on their phone, like as soon as we arrived, they're just, you can see the eyes like zombie style. And I'm really getting annoyed. So at one point I go to the toilet, and when I come back, the stool chair I was sitting on is not there anymore. I'm like, guys, and so someone took the stool, you know, and the problem is, you might say it's no big deal, but it's super annoying because it was really hard to get one. So I look around and then I see behind there's a table, a guy, a grumpy guy with four stool chairs, you know, I mean bar chairs, I don't know how you call it. And so I try to take one of the, you know, of the chairs, and he got really aggressive, really defensive. And I said, you know, I kept quiet because at that point, bear in mind, my blood was already boiling, not from him, but from the situation. And I was that close to lose my cool, which you should never do. And that's why I didn't do it. So I just looked at the guy and I said, no problem. I thought it was mine. I thought maybe, you know, you took it, but it's fine. That was not this guy's fault. He was just grumpy. But I can understand from his standpoint, I just come and I try to take the chair. So everything went smoothly with him. So my friend realized, oh, where is your chair? And I was like, yeah, where is my chair? You know? And it's not about the chair. It's about, come on, we are friends. We haven't seen each other in a while. We're on holidays and you can't even be off your screen. And because you can't be off your screen, now I have to stand up. And the most annoying thing is that I had ordered a bottle of whiskey because I thought, hey, you know, let's have a good time. So I took a bottle because, you know, in those places, if you just take a drink, you can't really have a table. I mean, you can have a table, but if someone comes and orders a bottle, you have to move. So I didn't want that. So the situation is I'm here. I have to stand up, sipping like my whiskey, like standing up. And I just kind of lost it internally. So I didn't really want to make a fuss. I didn't want to lose my cool and show that I lose my cool. So I just pretended I went back to the toilet, and actually I went out. I went out. I had to walk and, you know, I had to calm down. When I came back, I think they understood the message because magically my chair was back and now I could sit. But to be honest, the mood was ruined. And that episode really made me realize that there is really a problem with those devices that we love so much. Now, think about it. When internet first started, there was freedom. Like the videos that were posted online, it was completely different from TV. And that's why TV started losing momentum. Like me, for example, I think the last time I watched TV was something like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago that I really tuned on a TV station, probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe more than that. But the problem is nowadays, internet video has become the new TV because you can't really say what you think. So you are brainwashed by ideas that are not genuine. And I'm explaining that because I'm also a content creator. And obviously, this is a very tiny channel. I have other channels. But what I've realized is that when you post something, you cannot post what you really think anymore. I mean, if what you post is okay with the general movement and the general thinking, it's fine. But if you have different ideas, you might be in trouble. Also, there is the algorithm rule. So even if you want to post something that you really care about, but you know nobody's going to watch it, and as a content creator, you quickly learn the reward system. So what happened is most content creators are not dishonest people, but if you've never created a video, you don't know the time it takes to create a video. Now, this is talking head video. It still takes a bit of time to edit, but on some other channels where I publish, one video can take 4 days of work or up to 2 weeks of work. It depends. So are you going to spend that amount of time to get 5 views? No, of course. You want something that's going to work. So that's what I meant when I said that content creators quickly learn the reward system and they end up publishing things that are going to be favored by the algorithm, not things that they want to post. Also, just let me give you an example. Let's say you are in a couple with someone, your significant other, and they tell you every day at 8 a.m., I love you, like a robot. Now, at one point, you're going to ask them, hey, it's, you know, I appreciate, but it's weird. You always say that at 8 a.m. and I don't feel any warmth. Imagine that person tells you, well, the algorithm told me that the best time to tell you I love you is that at that time. Whether I love you or not, I just have to say it. So I say it. How would you feel about that? Well, it's kind of the same thing with content. So I made another video about what you hear is what you get. And I really think that this shapes up our minds and our belief system. And going back to what I was saying, decades ago, governments had to work hard and spend a lot of money so that you would believe whatever they want you to believe. And it's not about conspiracy theories. Maybe sometimes it's for your own good that they think, hey, this is what you have to believe, this is what you have to follow, so that our society stays a good society. It's not always doom and gloom, but still, the freedom of thinking is taken away from you. And I see that in a lot of the content nowadays. So when I see those zombies, once again, I have to, they're like that, all day, every day, that they can't not spend like 5 minutes without being fed by that. I realized that because I put myself in the lot also, even though I really don't like social media. I've explained that in other videos, but I must say I have a YouTube addiction. True, I really love YouTube. I love it. I think it's a good platform, especially the long form content and the creators that still try to publish the truth, even though it's hard, even though we don't get as many views, but I really love long form content. Now, I've realized a long time ago that I had to get away from, all of that noise. But lately it became even clearer. So like I said, I was on holidays and I was outside every day. So I wasn't spending a lot of time on my phone. And after those 2 or 3 weeks coming back, I realized, my habits have changed and I actually don't miss it so much. It's like the less I doom scroll, the less I need it. And if I can make a parallel example, I practice intermittent fasting. And if you don't know what that is, you can Google it up. But basically, I will only eat during a specific window during the day. And I do that like 4 to 5 days a week. This is to help regulate my weight. And there are a lot of benefits from what I've learned. But I'm not giving you advice. Check with your medical doctor. I'm just saying what I do. And intermittent fasting, actually, the less you eat, the less you want to eat because your stomach shrinks. It's a bit of the same thing with social media. The less you consume it, the less you want to consume it. So after those 2 or 3 weeks, I felt like I don't need to spend as much time doom scrolling as I used to. And I realized it's like I woke up from the Matrix. And now I see those zombies even more. And I'm getting tired of it. Like today I spilled my coffee, but I've had other things happen or things that happen to other people. I explained one time, I saw two people bump into each other and then, one of the people's phone just dropped and it was like the end of the world. And just because they were like zombie walking, and I'm just getting tired of it because when I see the society we're in and it's getting worse, to be honest. So I wonder what has to happen. And I think it's everybody has to decide for themselves. Do you want to be a zombie or do you want to change? So I'm going to share the little things I'm doing to change that. So after I realized what was going on, I decided I'm not going to stop watching YouTube. I love YouTube, like I said, but I'm going to start regulating what I do, the time I spend on my phone. So I tried to get back into reading. And maybe it was a bit hard the first day or two, but now I started this book and I'm just craving it. Like, even if I'm working during the day, I'm already craving the time I can start reading the book again. Because one thing happens when you read a book is that you have to imagine things. So I don't know really the theory behind it, the science behind it, but from what I heard, it creates like connections within your brain. You have to imagine what they're talking about. And that creative aspect creates new connections in your brain. And basically, it's good for your cognitive functions. Now, I don't know if that is the exact explanation behind it, but I can already feel that I feel different. Now, another thing I'm trying to do is to game a bit more than just scrolling. And you might say, yeah, scrolling is as bad as doom scrolling. Well, no. Once again, there are studies that prove it. I'll let you Google it or ask any AI that you want about it. But it's now proven that gaming, if done in a healthy way, is actually quite good for you, for your mind, for your cognitive functions. And in my case, I love VR gaming. I explained in another video, I've always been a gamer, but the last few years I kind of, fell out of love with gaming until I tried VR because now I'm in the game, I'm inside the game. So I try to play games that I like, open worlds like Skyrim in VR. And then I had this idea, well, why don't I combine the two? Like reading a book, actually audio reading, because it would be a bit difficult to see the book within my game, even though it's possible. So I might try that. but I'm audio reading the book and then I'm placing myself in an environment that kind of matches what the book is about. So right now I'm reading a book, it's medieval fantasy. So I got into Skyrim and I just stayed static looking at the beautiful scenery, listening to the book, and it's like the best of both worlds because I'm immersed in the book by looking at the environment I'm in. And if you play Skyrim, you know how beautiful it is. And also, because I'm in VR, it's harder to use my phone. Now, I could take my phone and try to look at it in the little space between the headset and my nose, but it's not really convenient. Now, there might be some way to integrate the screen of your phone within VR. I saw one app, but it's for Android phones. And actually, I didn't really want to do it because I'm trying to get away from the phone. So, by doing that, I'm spending great time for me reading and enjoying my time in VR or in gaming. Sometimes I really play VR games without reading, but now I'm not doom scrolling. And I cannot really explain what's going on, but I just feel better, much better and different. I didn't really feel bad, but now I feel much better. So I realized something was wrong. And I know it's kind of like a rant because, someone spilled my coffee today, but this was just the little tip of the iceberg. And it's just revealing all the rest. And I encourage you to observe. Next time you go out, just try for like 30 minutes or 1 hour to not pull out your phone. Maybe take a book or something, or just don't take anything and just observe people. Observe, count on 10 people how many are just, on their phone, and just look at the interaction between people and ask yourself this question: is this the world you want to live in? Is this something you truly enjoy? Just try it. Try it for yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say get rid of your phone. And like I said, I still enjoy my phone. I enjoy YouTube, but there needs to be a limit. And also, you really need to control what goes into your mind and your brain so you can still think for yourself. And the last thing, and I already talked about it in the video, but I really want you to remember it. Everything you watch was not created with the intent of sharing the truth. Most of the things you watch nowadays were created with the intent of satisfying the algorithms and generate views. So let that sink in, and you really need to carefully select what you're watching and what goes into your brain and your mind. Please let me know what you think about these zombies. Are you a zombie yourself and trying to get out? Have you ever experienced what I experienced today? And what do you think about it? Let's have a discussion in the comments below. As for me, I'll see you in the next one.